Hello. Today I want to talk about what is prenatal and perinatal trauma and how does it show up in adults. So prenatal is the period from conception to right before birth, and perinatal is the 3 to 5 days of birth. So peri is in the middle and pre is before. And most people think about after you're born or when you're born. And a lot of things can happen in that 40 weeks of the prenatal period. And then of course, the birth. There's this thing called imprinting where things make a difference. They impact our nervous system. And before the brain is developed completely, which happens across the childhood, there are imprints in our bodies. And so these patterns can show up in adulthood. And if you think about the 40 weeks of the pregnancy, that's a whole world. It's like you start as a spark of life, light actually, when the sperm and the egg meet and fertilize and start the growth process. You know, the cells divide and that begins a person. From that beginning all the way to when they can breathe on their own outside of the womb is the prenatal period. And things happen during that period that impact the baby, the mother's experience. There are things that happen for the baby that are considered losses, such as twin loss, where a twin does not survive and the surviving twin is born. Back in the day, we didn't know how many multiple pregnancies there were. But with the advent of ultrasound, we started noticing that there are more multiple pregnancies that begin. And think about what that feels like for a baby on the inside when his or her triplet is being reabsorbed. The loss of that, or things like failure to thrive. The pregnancy is not growing as well as the doctors. They measure and at pregnancy visits, what's going on with that, or placenta previa, or any number of things. The family could move, a relative could die, the baby could be in the womb after a baby's loss, a miscarriage. That imprints that child, that baby. And it's new to think about the baby's experience and how they carry those imprints into their adult life. So there are so many things that go into this. And one of the things that I wanted to say is looking for patterns in the work that I do with prenatal and perinatal trauma and how it shows up in adulthood is looking for patterns. Frequently, I will work with an adult to find out what is it that's really going on that's troubling them. And I teach them to access the shock and freeze on their nervous system through breath work and emotions, emotional identification. And then they work on the first 18 years of life, sometime early adulthood. And sometimes we go deeper into that prenatal and perinatal period. And it's not something that everyone can get to. It's really a deep work. And it takes finesse, it takes stability, it takes dedication. And it takes someone who's interested in going deeper before the things that they cognitively remember, because the body remembers certain things. And that's where the emotions can take us. I like to say that emotions are a portal to timeless healing in the body. So when we access these points of shock or freeze through the emotions, we can actually go and help that prenatal person, that perinatal experience when a mother might have almost died, or there was something going on with the delivery, the birthing was not smooth, or she didn't have the support she needed, or there was a medical complication. There's so many ways that birth isn't the natural or hopefully healthiest way. And so there are imprints that the baby carries. So tracking it with emotions is the method that I use, and the clients who can go there. So we look at what's going on in adult life. This is a timeline, I'm always using that. And so what are they coming to me for? Is the genesis of it during their developmental years, including the prenatal and perinatal period, or is it something that they've inherited? So that's epigenetics. This is outside the scope of this video, but I wanted you to have the timeline idea, and maybe I'll make more videos on this. How can friends and family support somebody who's working on their prenatal and perinatal trauma? Listen to them. Ask them what they need to feel supported. Maybe it's a time of the year that is impacting them around something that happened during their prenatal period or their birthing experience. I like to make sure that people understand that I'm not talking about people having children now. I'm not talking about people parenting now. I'm working with adults who've had experiences that have not been touched and given an opportunity to metabolize, release the shock and freeze. And so that's the work that I do. Hopefully this will explain some of it. Please, if you have any questions, put them in the comments. You can reach out to me through email, Valerie at beyondbeautiful.net. And let me know what questions you have. I'll see if I make any more of these. This was at a specific request, so let me know how I did. All right, thanks. Bye.